like to talk to you about the prominent Oyo Alaafin, the biggest and powerful state in Nigeria.
Bravo, bravo, bravo. This is what I'm talking about, guys.
Kábíyèsí o, aláyélúwà, kádé pẹ́ lórí, kí bàtà pẹ́ lẹ́sẹ̀.
Cha cha cha, anybody Koyin? Cha 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 cha, anybody Renu? Venu? Where's Venu?
Let me tell you something. When it comes to the Big Brother Naija show, these are the kind of contents I love to talk about. One that actually tells our own story. One that is actually indigenous to us. The kind of things that we can relate to, that we know that is our own. Like, people who are watching around the world get to know who we are. We are Nigerians. Hey! Love it. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Lucy's Quick One. Talking the Big Brother Naija show season 10. 10 over 10, no zero, no minus, 10 over love, 10 over drama, 10 over bad news and everything in between. I know for a fact right now that when it comes to Nigerians, and for those who are watching this show, right, there is no way you are not proud of yourself and where you're from based on the wager presentation by this housemate. I mean, I just want to talk about how well these housemates did and the kind of lessons that I learned personally when it comes to the particular wager presentation that has to do with our culture and our diversity and the calls for unity. Guys, I was impressed. I don't think there's anybody that was not impressed by the presentation that we had today. I mean, there were one or two lapses, but I was impressed. Now, this major presentation was majorly talking about the culture, talking about the things that make us unique as various ethnic groups in Nigeria. I think we have about 250 ethnic groups in Nigeria. So we talk about tourist centers, things that are beautiful in each of the states when it comes to Nigeria, things that we do not even know about the states that we belong to or the states that we come from, the kind of food that is being eaten, the kind of places that exist in these various states. So this show starts with Faith, who was the anchor. Faith acted as the person who would narrate or would bring one culture to another, who would introduce a particular culture, and then when they are done would introduce the next culture or the next ethnic group. So Faith starts and introduces the first set of people, and these were Kola and Imisi, representing Oyo. And when I tell you that these guys did an amazing job, that was like the best opener. I mean, I feel like Imisi was in her realm. Imisi was in her comfort zone. Imisi was in a place where she could actually flourish. This girl went on to eulogize and give the Oriki of Oyo. And Oriki is more like the praise that is ascribed to either a person or a place. So she kept on giving the Oriki of Oyo, and then, you know, Kola was trying to give the Bata dance, giving his elbow and everything. And I was like, I really loved how they talked about the Oyo Empire, how they talked about history. I mean, if you've been watching my channel for the longest, you know that I'm somebody who loves history. I loved how they actually dissected how Oyo came to be, the kind of leaders that are there, the people that come from this place called Oyo State, and what is indigenous to the places like Ibadan, which is the capital of Oyo State. And you know, Kola broke it down as well as Imisi, and they did a very good job talking about Oyo State. Now we move from them to Mensan and Joanna. Now my mom is from Akwa Ibom State, and so I could understand their combi dance and everything that actually had to do with Calabar. At some point I was confused about Calabar and Akwa Ibom, but I mean, like, we're all the same thing, right? And then I know that there's some differences, but we're still the same. So we had, you know, Mensan and Joanna talk about the places in Calabar that makes Calabar unique, the tourist centers in Calabar, the food indigenous to Calabar and the Akwa Ibom people. We were talking about Ekmankuko, they talked about Edikaikon, they talked about Afang soup and things like that. And I think for them, what I loved the most was the dance. The dance is one dance that I love. How will I explain this? So the dance is not as easy as people see. So people see people dance like this, right? But when it comes to those from Akwa Ibom State or Calabar, when they dance, it's more like it signifies the stream of water, because that's one of the things that is indigenous to the Calabar people or the Akwa Ibom people. They dance like water. So if you watch water move in a stream, it goes like this, right? See me teach it. That's because I'm so happy. It goes like this, wavy format. That's the reason you see them dance like this and dance like this and dance like, clap for me. Now, moving on from Mensan and Joanna, we had Kebobo and Thelma Lawson representing Oshun people. And I really have to give it to Thelma Lawson, because When I was listening to her practice for the wage representation, I was scared the way she was saying Obatala. I mean, I'm not Yoruba and I don't think I'm so good with the language either, but I was scared at the way she was pronouncing some names. But it was good to see that, Kebobo was able to help her with that and pronounce some of the names. And she also like gave the history of the Oshun festival, the Oshun Oshogbo festival, which is very peculiar to those from Oshun state. Talked about the gods in Oshun and the kind of food that they eat and the kind of prominent people that come from Oshun state. Now we move away from Oshun state to move all the way to Ogun state. That was talking about Zita and Ruboy. Now, these guys were talking about the Ojude Oba festival, talked about prominent people that come from Ogun State, and I would say that they actually represented the state the best way possible. I would not want to even forget Mide and Bright Morgan. Very interesting couple, I must say.
Kedu.
And they were talking about the eastern part of Nigeria, that is coming from Imo State. One thing that's peculiar to the Igbos is the New Yam Festival. And I loved how they highlighted that, how they talked about it, how they talked about the prominent people from the place, talked about the various foods that we can find when it comes to the eastern part of Nigeria. We have the Ofe Owiri, we have the Ofe Sala, we have the Ofe Nugu, which is the bitter leaf soup, and which they talked about. They talked about the culture, talked about the people, talked about the way of life. I mean, you know that when it comes to the Big Brother Nigeria show, there are various people that are watching the show, and it's not just about Nigerians. I mean, we form the bulk of the audience, but people are so interested in this country. Maybe because we are Nigerians, some people do not understand the gravity, the reverence that we actually have outside the country. So we have a lot of people who were able to learn from these guys. Now, moving away from all of them, we move to Culture and Jason J. They talked about the Gala people from Kogi State. And in as much as I love history, I do not think I remember or recollect the story that they actually talked about, the story of Princess Imisi, who gave her life up for peace in Gala. I was blown away listening to them break this down, especially for culture. At some point, I was like, is this guy from the States? Then it was later on I found out that culture is actually from Kogi State. And he did break it down to explain how there was war in Igala Kingdom and how the king had to sacrifice his princess, that's Princess Imisi, for peace to reign. At some point, it made me feel some type of way because I was like, you guys had to kill somebody to make peace? Wow. But anyways, I would say that it was beautiful to know. I never knew that, and I learned that watching the wage representation from the guys from Igala. Now we move away from them, we move to Adamawa State. Now talking about northern Nigeria, where we had Isabella and Sultana. Now these guys talked about the kind of food that is peculiar to those from the north, and they also talked about the way of life. Now Sultana made a mention of something. She said in Adamawa State, people there always make food and then they open it up to, even if you are strangers, you can come around and eat. I mean, it's something that I have heard about, but I cannot confirm. But I love the fact that she talked about it. It's actually very beautiful, looking at the way things have turned out in the world, not just in Nigeria, in the world where there's hostility, where there is violence. Having to cook for a community is a big deal. Now she talked about the famous suya, talked about the famous kilishi, all these things you probably don't know how they actually did come about, but listening to them you'll be able to know. Last but not the least will be the presentation by Koyin and Didi.
To ease your curiosity on why I look so colorful, it is because of the Fancy Carnival.
Guys, I have been in Lagos for some years, and trust me, I'll believe me when I tell you that when it comes to Lagos Island, I did not know the depth to which these guys actually represent, thanks to Dede and Koyin. I mean, it's also very good to read, but it's also very good to pay attention when you actually have the opportunity to. So Koyin and Dede did give a very good background story to how the Lagos Islanders came to be, how they started off, and why we have the likes of the Eyo Festival, and we have the Eyo and the lady, which is Dede, how she's dressed and why she's dressed the way she's dressed. They talk about the fact that as a lady, Dede talk about the fact that you do not wear slippers when you have this kind of festival going on. It just kind of like truncates the essence of what the festival is about. And then I loved how, first of all, Koyin came out and Koyin gave his delivery, explained everything. So while Dede was giving her closing remark about the Lagos Island and the prominent people that are from Lagos State, which is first of all the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, as well as other Nigerians that are from Lagos State, Koyin came back dressed properly as an Eyo person and gave the dance the befitting performance that it deserves. I mean, if you've watched the Eyo Festival, or you need to Google it, you see the way they dance. They dance with their stick, they go down, and they actually always jump up. One thing that's always very peculiar about this Eyo people is that when they dress their apparel, it's always longer than their length. So it's very, very dicey when they actually jump and then come down. It's risky too because it could trip and fall. So Koyin did that like twice. The first time he came on stage, he jumped like that, and then when it was done again, he also jumped like that. And I would say that, God, I was impressed. Now the Ouija presentation ends with them coming to call for unity and talking about the fact that in as much as we are diverse people in Nigeria and there are diverse ethnic groups in Nigeria, we still are one, and they called for peace. At the beginning of the presentation, Zita had to mention that, you know, this time it's we the audience that will determine whether or not these guys would actually win their wager. And we all know, we all agree that these guys actually won their wager with that presentation. I would also like to give kudos to Faith.
With mutual respect, understanding, patience, and the ability to listen to other people, peace can be achieved.
Faith did an amazing job. I mean, I would say that the mood of a presentation would be determined by the person that is actually anchoring or the host, or even the mood of a show is determined by the person that is anchoring or the host, as well as either the first people to come on stage and things like that. So I would like to give kudos to Faith. He did pay attention to each of these ethnic groups as they came on board. And I would like to say that Faith is an intelligent person. So he already had like background knowledge of most of the states. He was able to successfully link one particular ethnic group to another. Was so beautiful. Guys, I mean, this is one of the best times to be proud of being Nigerian. Not just being proud, but being proud of who you are and where you are from. You know this song, they always say that no matter where you go, no place can ever be like home. So to all the ethnic groups in Nigeria, I'm sure that you were represented in one way or the other, and I'm sure that you are proud of yourself and where you come from, and then you know a little bit about who you are and where you are from. Guys, let me know what you think about the wager presentation in the comment section. Again, I give them a 10 over 10, no zero, no minus. They did deliver. I got you more right here on this channel. Till next time, remember to enjoy every moment. Bye.